God, you call me by my name. The love you give me, I just can't deny. Yeah. No longer blinded, I can see you.
I know you're probably guessing the prices and coming up with any type of estimate for your wigs for your business, because I know I was in the beginning, and honestly I probably was doing it a little bit even further into my business until I realized that I was lowballing myself and that I actually did have to increase my price, and I had to increase it a lot, and I kind of was second guessing myself when I had to increase it, because of the fact that I already started off so low, and now I have to actually increase it to a point where it does make sense and it becomes profitable. I'm gonna show you guys a little quick breakdown of the things that I use in the maths and stuff that I use to help me actually price my wigs to make them actually profitable in the long term, and of course not looking at other people's pricings and going based off of their pricing only, but strictly going based off of my structure and the things that I need and the things that my prices are based off of to make it profitable in the long term. So the first thing you truly have to do when it comes to, you know, actually pricing your wigs properly is knowing the base cost. Now, I definitely did skip this step. Not necessarily skipped it, but I was missing a lot of additional fees that I didn't put into consideration when I was actually pricing the units. So if your base price is off, that means if it's off, that means it's gonna cut into your profits, or your basically it's gonna cut into your profits, and that's not what you want to do. So you always want to make sure that you get your base price properly. Now, I did have my little book, but I couldn't find it, so I'm just gonna go based off of some of the things that I know from the top of my head that I know that I do include. Of course, the first thing that you're going to include is the hair. You need to know how much money the hair is with bundles, with the closure. So once you do that, you need to know how much it's gonna cost for them to actually make the wig for you. Like, and for instance, I am going to have a little mini doc linked down below for you guys, just so you're able to go based off of, because I know this might get a little bit confusing, but basically sit down and make a list of all your basically base price of things that you actually are going to be charged for. And that usually means, since I get my wigs made by my vendor, I know that they're going to charge me to actually make the wig, and it's usually between $10 to $15 for them to make the wig, on top of me purchasing the hair from them. And of course, that also comes into a different type of customization, because some vendors, they can customize the wigs for you, they can bleach them and all that extra stuff, but I know that does include extra cost. So if you do choose to go that route, that's something that you also have to make sure that you include in the price. And also, they do charge for shipping, and of course now they have tariffs. So your vendor does have tariffs, and it also has shipping. Make sure you also include both of them in there, because those are two things that are very important. Usually the tariffs is a little bit, you know, pricey, so you don't want to skip out of that part. And then also, you also need to put into consideration your processing fees. And the processing fees, I would say for sure, is PayPal. Most of the time vendors, they use PayPal, so they usually tell you upfront how much the PayPal fee is when they give you the full total of the products that you're getting from them. So there's going to be the PayPal fee, and also, of course, I did forget this before, but don't forget your Shopify fees. Like, whatever fees that you use from Shopify, also include that in there. For every transaction, I think mine is a 2.9% that they take off of each purchase. So I also make sure that I include that in there before. And that's something that's so small that you can forget, but those are still like money that if you don't add that to the base price, it is going to eat up the margin of your profits. And then also, if you do want to provide free shipping, then of course this is where you actually would add this to the base price as well. I highly suggest that you do free shipping, because I know it's kind of like a psychology thing, and I've been doing free shipping way before, back in 2022 and 2023, because it kind of like takes out that guesswork or like that hesitation between when a customer goes in about to purchase and then they see, oh, it's like $9.99 or like $15 for shipping. Some people really do hesitate, because I know that for me, I hesitate a lot when it comes to shipping. I'm like, ugh, I don't want to pay extra $5, $6, $10 for a product, you know, even though I can, but the psychology of it, like, I don't want to, you know. So taking out that hesitation in between will definitely help like conversion rate. So just if you want to provide free shipping, now you have to add that into the cost. And this is not like anything sneaky or anything. This is literally what businesses do. It's just a hidden cost that a lot of, you know, customers don't see. And then of course, if you have any boxes or any like packaging or whatever it is, you also have to include that in the base fee. Like all these little things, I know they're pretty minor and it seems like I'm adding a lot, but these are the things that you really do need to make sure that you include in the base price, because all of those are things that is needed for you to ship out this one product to your customer, you know, and that is money that you're already coming out of pocket for. So you need to make sure that all those expenses to run the business, to ship out units, those are covered and it's not coming out of your profits. So yeah, so in total, so just make sure you sit down there and do all of those things, and then after that you can move on to the next step. Okay, so basically the next step, which I used to include them together, but now they're kind of like two separate in a sense, and I'm going to explain why. But you want to have your price, your base price for your labor, which means you customizing the wigs, which means bleaching it, plucking it, washing it, styling it, and things like that. Like all those things take time. So you need to sit there and figure out what would be the base price. For instance, if a wig takes you 3 hours, and a number off the top of my head, you want to charge $100 or $150, but let's stick to 100 just to make it easy. Like for all these different things that I mentioned, this styling and the customization, you want to do a flat fee of $100 for your services for you to do those things. Again, this is just a number on top of my head. You can choose those whatever number you feel is comfortable. Of course, don't go too crazy, but a number that you see fit in a sense when it comes to like 3 hours of work per wig, you know. So make sure you sit down and figure out what that base price would be. And of course, for real numbers, let's say that for that base price, if you spent about 3 hours on a unit and you want to get paid $50 an hour for it, you see that your skill is worth $50 an hour. And that's what you really have to think about it. It is a skill, even though it takes you only 3 hours, but that skill took you like years for you to actually learn those things. And that's what people are paying for. They're paying for your skill. So you want to make sure you include that in your labor. So your labor, you charge $50 an hour, you know, so that will be your base price. You know that each wig takes you about 3 hours, so now $50 an hour, and that will be quote unquote your base price. Of course, you can change this up if you want to. I'm not telling anyone a specific number, but yeah, that could be the base price for your labor. And of course, if different units take more time, which means if it is like a highlighted balayage wig, like whichever thing that considers extra work, which is coloring or bleaching and things like that, then that's additional work, because that's additional hours that you will be included. And of course, at that point, your labor amount will be more. So that price, it kind of is going to change depending on what type of wig you are creating. But always make sure that you have a base labor price, and of course, additional pricing when it comes to additional colorings and things like that. All right, so this is the part where I said it could kind of get confusing, but and then also that I used to include them together. You can include your labor and also your profit margin together. I used to do that, but now I kind of do it a slight bit different. So now I just separated it. So this next step is going to be your actual profit, the profit that you're actually going to make, to be built into the price of the unit. So you want to make sure that you kind of make that separate, or you account for the actual profit that you're going to be making. Because let's be honest, customizing, staying and styling and doing all those things to the units, that's labor. You're putting in work labor for that unit, and then after that, after you've worked for the labor of you actually customizing the wig, now you can move on to the actual profits, which is that part where now you have to figure out, and you don't necessarily need to figure out, usually profit margins for especially wigs, I would say, now correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but they're between 40 to 50%. So that's like about 1.4, 1.6% of the price that's for the cost of everything that I told you guys from before, and for all the items before your base price, and then you also include your labor, and then so now you add up the labor and the base price together, and then you times that off of the profit. You kind of times it by 1.5 or 1.4, or just make sure that is 40 to 50%. Now, of course, again, these are just like the numbers that I use. You can change these up if you want, so you can do more research and see how you want to position it, but it's usually between 40 to 50% of your base price and then your labor costs together, and that should give you the numbers. Like for instance, I wrote this down, so it's about $180 for the base price for you to get your products, for you to get the all the additional fees that I mentioned in the beginning, and then your labor is, let's say, $100. So now in total, you add both of those things together, that's $280. So that's $280, and that's for the labor and for the base. But now you're going to actually be going to the actual profit, which means now for that $280, if you times it by a 1.4, 1.5, maybe 1.6, which is about 40 to 50% of that, usually it'll be around, so now your actual selling price of that product will be around 400 to 450, excuse me, 400 to 450 dollars, which is a typical amount for a wig unit, you know, especially for what you're spending it on. So I hope that kind of makes sense. Yeah, I hope that made sense. Of course, like I said, I am going to include an actual little mini doc, so you guys can actually go based off of to see exactly what I'm saying. If you don't really understand, but you guys can watch this video back and look at the documents, have it open right next to you while you hear me saying the things, so you're not a little confused about what I'm saying, because I know it can be a little confusing. And lastly, I just want to add, like I was saying in the beginning, I used to just base my pricing based off of other wig makers or other wig stylists, but I had to learn that I don't know what their cost is when it comes to the quality of their hair, how much they're paying for those things, how much their fees are. I don't know if the model that they're using is profitable for them, you know. So if I don't know those things, that means I have to just go based off of my numbers and what's profitable for me in the long term. And I really do want to also mention, you want to price your units based off your skill. Now, if you know that your skill is still like entry level, keep that in mind when you are putting it in the pricings, because you don't want to charge premium price knowing that you're still a beginner, you know. So everything is kind of like, it's baby steps for you to get to the different levels, because I kind of had to learn that as well. But me, in my instance, I kind of did stay in the beginner level when I knew that I should have been increasing my price because it was not profitable. So just because I'm saying that, make sure you use your beginner price. If you're a beginner, does not mean for you to not have a profitable margin. It just means that just be aware to not go extreme to like premium if you know that this is your base and this is still giving you sustainability and profitability with the beginner stage until you're able to move up. And that is something that you don't want to skip, because your skills and how your units look and stuff like that, it does play a part into how much you are able to charge for your units. And people can tell, you know. Some people, they already see from jump from like the quality of your hair or the photos, whatever it may be, they're gonna notice that the price does not match. So you're not gonna be fooling anyone, basically. That's kind of the way that I price my units. Like I said, a lot of these numbers you can interchange them, fix them around, but you can use this for wigs, but then you could also use this for bundles as well, just to give you a good nice ballpark so that you can make sure that you are actually making a profit. Because let's be honest, we're doing this because we still want to make a profit from our business and not just, you know, cutting ourselves short or just not having a profitable business. So I hope this was helpful. If you guys have any additional questions, please leave it in the comments down below, and I'll make sure that I answer as much as I can if you guys have any questions, because I know that it could be a little bit confusing with the way that I was explaining things. But like I said, I will link the doc down below and you guys can open it up and look at it while you guys go over this video again. But I hope this video was helpful, and yeah, but I'll see you guys in the next video series. Bye.